Hey, hello, everybody. Pastor Xavier here from God's Grace and Covenant, a Hebrew congregation. It's good to see y'all again tonight. Today is the Sabbath day once again. I wanted to come with another study. This is going to be part two of of um of of the holidays versus holy days. God has holy days in the scriptures, but people today, like in this country, have holidays, which are something of the heathen, not anything that we should be doing as Hebrews. And when I say Hebrews, I'm talking about my people that look like this right here, the children of the slaves that are all over the place, scattered to the four corners of the world. and we have a rich history. Those scriptures belong to us. That's our history. But today I want to talk about a few things. Uh, you can get your pen and pad out and you can go along. You'll also see this today's scriptures that I'm coming from in the comment section, in the details. So today we're going to start with Revelation chapter 2, and we're going to go from verse 8 to verse 23. And what we're going to talk about there is what the Messiah says to the angel of the churches, because I want to make it clear when he's talking, he says, write this to the angel of the church of Smyrna, write this to the angel of the church in blah, blah, blah. So he's speaking to the angel of the church. So it's a hierarchy, a order that's going, and he wants to talk to the leadership first so they can explain to the people under the leadership what to do. So the leadership has not been telling the people these things because, in this country, we've gotten just like we did in Babylon. Everything that we're going through now is something that we already went through in history previously before. According to the scriptures, it's the best history book you can find. It's going to show how we went through slavery. Our people went through slavery in various nations all over the earth. Some of you are aware of the transatlantic slave trade, which had us in slavery in England, France, uh, Portugal, Spain, uh, Belgium, let's see, United States, of course, South America, all over Central America, Australia. We were part of the British empires and their colonies. And then over time, they started to cut things out in their own territories. Like, say, for instance, England had all these colonies, but they outlawed slavery in England, but not in the colonies. Uh, France, for a while, outlawed slavery in France, but not in the French colonies. The French colonies still had it, but they had this uh, pretense as if they were letting it go, but they weren't letting it go until this day. Now they say that we're free, but we've been emancipated. We've never been set free. We've been emancipated, which totally gives us the right to take people to court and things like that. But freedom is not what we've been given, contrary to what you've been told. Look up the word emancipation. Matter of fact, how about I look it up for you right now? Let's see. Emancipation, the fact or process of being set free from legal, social, or political restrictions. And then they have a colon there and put liberation. But you're not completely free. You're just able to have legal, social, or political restrictions delayed or scooted over, and you can challenge things in a court of law. Because there was a time that we couldn't challenge anything in a court of law. But our true freedom, only the truth is going to set you free according to the scriptures. And that truth in the scriptures, You're going to worship God in spirit and in truth. And if you can't worship God in truth, and the truth is that these holidays are foul and something that you shouldn't be doing. And right now, this is the Christmas holiday. And I know that, I'm raining on a lot of people's parade, and I know you so happy, but this is also considered the most, according to law enforcement, the greatest time of the year for suicide. So, whereas they say that this is the season of, what is it? They say Jesus is the reason for the season, and it's the most wonderful time of the year, and they make songs for it and all of that. But it's also the most suicidal time of the year. So, how does that work? Think about that. Think about the truth of that. And this is the time of year where people go absolutely bankrupt, killing themselves financially to buy presents and gifts for people to make them love them. And if they don't give them enough stuff, it's a show that you don't love them. You have to buy their love. It's insanity. When you really think about it, it's insanity. And these holidays come one right after the other. By the time you're finished with one, here comes another one. Next one gonna be coming up. It's gonna be New Year's. Now everybody gonna be getting drunk and shooting and tearing stuff up and acting a fool. Then after that, you're gonna go to Valentine's Day. Then you're gonna break yourself for some woman, and the woman gonna break herself for some man, and everybody gonna be on the social media telling lies about how great they boo was and all this kind of stuff, and they just lying. And that's gonna be the most wonderful time for divorce lawyers at the Valentine's Day, because somebody forgot an anniversary, they forgot a gift or what have you. But you shouldn't have been doing any of that stuff in the first place. And today we're going to go over the origin of Valentine's Day. Did you know it's in the scriptures? It's in there. Well, let me finish giving you the rundown. So we're going to have Revelation chapter 2, verse 8 through 23. That's going to talk about what the Messiah is saying to the angel of the churches. And in particular, he's going to be discussing the doctrine of Balaam, uh, who was a prophet back in the day. And he was one of our prophets, actually. We always have had a Judas amongst us that would betray us. And then Balac, the king Balac, who hired Balaam. So he would be in the place of the governments that are against us. And you know that the governments have been against us for a long time. And then Jezebel is also mentioned. And Jezebel was Ahab's wife. But she's going to show you how to just do whatever you want to do and be quite similar to the doctrine of Balaam and the Nicolaitans. And the Nicolaitans are AKA the Christian way. Means you could do anything you want, and it's going to be able to slide with God. But I'm telling you, that's not the truth. And then we're going to go to Genesis chapter 34, verses 1 through 2. We're going to talk about the assault of Dinah, Jacob's daughter, his first daughter that he had. Dinah was assaulted, a sexual assault. And where was she when that happened, and what was she doing that precipitated this incident? Now, of course, anytime some woman is assaulted or some kid is assaulted or some person is assaulted, I'm not saying it's their fault. I just want to give you the backstory on the who, what, when, and where, because you need to know. It's kind of like the first 48. If you could know all these things, you'll know what to do in the future, where not to be going, and how to conduct yourself and stuff like that. Then we're going to go to Jasher chapter 33. Now, you'll have to go to the apocryphal books for Jasher, but you could look it up on your smartphone or computer. Jasher chapter 33, verses 1 through 11. That's the more detailed version of the Dinah incident. So when we go to Genesis, we're going to get a brief statement. But when we go to Jasher 33, oh, it's going to be very descriptive and fill in all in blanks that you've been wondering about. Oh, yeah. That's what the apocryphal books do. Then we're going to go to Judges chapter 1 and chapter 2. So that's going to be a long read right there. And that's going to talk about Israel, Hebrews, joining with strangers, causing them to turn from their God and what the outcome is. And we're not supposed to do that. Even though we're in a land that we got brought to, we came from somewhere else and then we were brought over here. Now, some of us were already here because we did a lot of exploration back in the day. And I know some of you are aware of that in this country, a lot of us were already here. Uh, Down in Central America, South America, we did a lot of traveling back in the day. And contrary to what people think, we had navies and boats and all that kind of thing to do things. We didn't use our navy for warfare. That's one thing we didn't do. We only used it for travel. Uh, and that's probably one reason that we ended up being beaten by other people's navies, which were used for warfare purposes, and we didn't do that. We weren't as interested in warfare as the other nations were. Then we're going to go to Jasher, back to Jasher, chapter 18, verses 11 through 15, and that's where we're going to find the origin of Valentine's Day. That's going to be interesting. You're going to get to see what it was back in the day, what they did on that day. And actually, they did it 4 times a year. So that was a 4-time-a-year event. It was done from the morning to the night. And then the next day it was over. So it was a whole day event 4 times a year, I guess during the 4 seasons, I suppose. And then we're going to go to the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. And there we're going to talk about pagan and heathen holidays, feasts, aka holiday parties, dinners, all that kind of thing. Going to talk about some more origin of this stuff. And that's going to come from Solomon. Then we're going to go to Jeremiah 10 and let's listen to the prophet Jeremiah tell us about the origin of Christmas. And I'd already talked about this on the last study. And then we're going to finally end up at Judges chapter 10, verses 1 through 16, where God is upset with us because we keep going back to the people that we're strangers in their land, but we keep doing the things that they do, like their holidays, and it causes us a problem. And even though we assimilate and do their stuff, they still hate us. It does not pay off to do these things, just like today it doesn't. And what ends up being the outcome of that. So let's get into it. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2, verse 8. All righty. And unto the angel of the church in Smyrna write, these things saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. So now you know that one that's talking is the Messiah, because remember, he was dead and then he was back alive again because God raised him from the dead. And he's talking to, don't just say that he's talking to the churches. He is, but technically he's talking to the angel over the church. He's talking to leadership first. No different than God was talking to Adam first, and then Adam relayed everything to Eve in the garden. He didn't just straight up talk straight to the other folk. He first talked to the leadership, and leadership bears responsibility to tell everybody else about what thus says the Lord. And we're not doing that as leadership because we're too afraid to get the people that they're not going to like us if we take away their holidays, and if we tell them to stick to God's holy days, and we tell them to do things on the Sabbath day that God instituted in his law, that these people that are Nicolaitans and Christians say it got hung up on a cross. Whether it got hung up on a cross or not, that one that got hung up on the cross came back right after death. The cross didn't do anything except make him a propitiation for our sin. And then he came right back. So everything that he had when he got hung up there, he brought it back better and more when he returned from the dead. When he was resurrected, the law was still there. He never got rid of the law. He never got rid of the prophets. Not one jot or tittle, he said, will go away from that law. That's what he said. And that law includes us not dealing with these holidays like Christmas. And I know you love it because you're going to get some presents and some gifts. And y'all got to excuse me because I got a little dessert here. I'm going to have a little bit while I'm sitting with you. And I hope you have something too. We're going to sup together while we go over the scriptures. Now, he says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. So he's making it clear once again, there's a group out there telling lies. And it's up to you to understand who is telling these lies. Because he wants people to worship him in spirit and in truth. So start telling the truth. The truth is there's a group out there calling themselves Jews, but they're not. I'm reading the scriptures. This isn't me. This is what thus says the Lord in this book. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. So if you're a person that's a believer, unfortunately, there are some things you're going to suffer. A lot of people think that if you're a believer, you're not going to be touched by any trouble. Tell that to Job and see what he replies with. Tell that to Jacob. Tell that to David. Tell that to Joseph. Joseph tried his best. He didn't mess with nobody. He just explained his dreams. He didn't cause nobody no trouble. They put him in a hole. His own brothers put him in a hole, sold him into slavery. And then he got accused of sexual assault, got put into prison, got a felony conviction. Now he's a convicted felon. If Joseph was alive today, a lot of y'all wouldn't hire him because he has a felony on his record. And come to think of it, a lot of y'all wouldn't hire the Messiah because he has a felony on his record too, because he was charged with insurrection. And that's why he was given a death sentence for insurrection and saying that he was something that he was not, according to their law, that he was Caesar, he was the king and not Caesar. So he was charged with a felony for what would you call that today? Insurrection is one charge, and the other charge would be theft of trying to imitating public official, trying to be the president or what have you, something like that. And it was a criminal offense. And these were felonies, federal felonies that would get you locked up. So you couldn't hire him for anything in today's world. Think about that. Think about that. Now let's continue on. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Some of y'all gonna get a record. It happens, especially in this country. It happens. That ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. So what are you going to be tried for? Well, you're going to be tried by being put into the prison, and your faith is going to be tried, is what's going on. Your faith is going to be tried. And let me move this thing a little forward. Hold on a second. Get this light on. Okay. Yeah, your faith is going to be tried. That's the situation. And when your faith is tried, you'll find out whether you'll stick with God or not. And we're going to read that in the book of Judges, because that happened there too. And and God is going to be testing you. That trial is going to be a test. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Some of you may die in that trial. Things might not go necessarily the way you would want them to. If you're a person that loves God and you're following his rules and his ways, you may be shunned in your home. You may be shunned in your the place that you go to church. You may be shunned with your family. You may be shunned amongst your friends, because they won't understand why you're doing things on the Sabbath. Why do you not celebrate the holidays? Why do you stay away from eating pork? Why do you not eat shrimp? Why do you not eat crab? Because I'm down here in Florida now, and they have crab boils every other day. And it's wrong. The crab, the shrimp, the lobster, all of that is wrong. And they're not supposed to be having that according to the scriptures. They are literally breaking the law, and they don't even realize it because they don't read the book. And someone has told them that all of the laws got hung up on the cross and died. Okay, well, they got hung up on the cross and died. What do you say when it got resurrected? It got brought right back into existence. So what do you say about that? And what do you say about the book of Isaiah, chapter 65 and chapter 66, which says that those laws and those Sabbath days are coming right back in the kingdom to come? The same thing in the book of Revelation. Same thing in the book of Daniel. It's all coming back. You'll find this stuff in Daniel. You'll find it in Isaiah. You'll find it in Revelation. You'll find it in you'll find it in a bunch of the other books. It's repetitive in these books about what's going to be happening in the kingdom to come. And then let's see here. Verse 11. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. He that overcomes shall not be hurt of the second death. The second death. Now, one thing that a lot of people believe is that what do they say? The phrase that they say, you only live once. No, you're going to be woke up again. You're going to be brought back again. After you die the first time, you're going to be brought back again. And you better hope that you're not killed again, because that will be the put into the lake of fire. And that is eternal. So you can do it twice. Just know that. Now, according to the scriptures, if you're brought back and not going through if you stay around for the first death and you make it through that, you won't even be touched by the second death at all. Some of y'all not going to suffer the death at all, according to the scriptures. According to in the book of Revelation, you'll be changed in the twinkling of an eye. You'll be caught up and you'll be changed. You won't even see death. There'll be a blessed few that's not going to even see death, but they're going to see all of these things that go on in the tribulation time. They're going to see all of the plagues, all of the troubles that happen, and they're going to see God's miraculous power with their own eyes. They're going to hear it and see it. And they're going to be witness to it, just like we were way back in the beginning times in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua. We're going to see all of that great stuff that God would do. We're going to see it again if we're around at them tribulation times in Genesis that Revelation speaks of. And to the angel of the church in Pergamos write, these things These things saith he that has the sharp sword with two edges. I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And Lord knows we're in Satan's seat in this country right now. And thou holdest fast my name and has not denied my faith. Some of y'all hold fast his name and don't deny his faith, but you're still doing these other things. And he's getting ready to talk about that. And has not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas, my faithful martyr, who was slain among you where Satan dwelleth. Now, of course, this is speaking about the days when this was going on in, I believe, is Turkey. It's either Syria or Turkey, one of the two. But God's prophecy go around like a circle over and over and over. We just keep going through a lot of stuff over and over again. But now we're coming to the conclusion. Now we ain't in Turkey. Now we're in the United States, at least I am. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam. And today we have a lot of people that hold the doctrine of Balaam. Now, what is the doctrine of Balaam? Who taught Balac to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols and to commit fornication. So when do you be sacrificing stuff unto idols and committing fornication? That's the holidays. You have a special dinner. Typically at Thanksgiving, the dinner is turkey and a few other items. And in Christmas, turkey again, biggest turkey sales times of the year. Now, me, I try to eat chicken instead. I don't celebrate the holiday, and I don't even try to eat the food. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with eating turkey. It's not. But I try to stay away from whatever everybody else is doing. I try not to even do it. I just try to go a completely different direction. So there's just not no mixing up what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. So you ain't going to find none of these decorations in my yard, in my house. Ain't no trees, ain't no wearing no colors. And we're going to get into that because this stuff is serious to these people. And contrary to what you think, Santa Claus, Kris Kringle, Saint Nicholas, or whatever you want to call him, he is a god. Now, I know y'all think he's not, but originally he used to be Odin. And then later on, he's Santa Claus, and he ride on a sleigh flying in the sky. So God flies through the air because he's a spirit. Santa Claus flies through the air, and he's like a spirit. And he has the Christmas spirit. And he puts that on everybody at a specific time of the year. Think about what you're doing. He only wears a certain color. God's colors is usually white. Santa Claus, on the other hand, he's wearing red with some white trim and a little black mixed in there. And then he's got his toys that he bring to people, but he also has coal that he'll get to people that's bad. So he judges whether you're good or whether you're bad, and he gives you according to what you do. Now, God's going to say that he's going to give you according to your works too. That's what it says in Revelations. Santa Claus is a god. He's not a comic book character. He's an actual god, and he has magic with elves and all this, and he can make all of this stuff. He can get on your top of your house and slide through your chimney and appear and reappear and disappear and all this kind of stuff and go places that nobody else can go. And then he can miraculously do these things, and you're supposed to leave him some food, just like an offering when he comes. Supposed to leave some cookies and some milk and all this kind of stuff. Now, God has the land of milk and honey that he give to you, but you have to leave milk and cookies and honey for Kris Kringle, for him to be happy with you when he come and visit you in the middle of the night. And he don't never visit you in the daytime. He come in the dark. Now, the last type being that I knew of that come in the dark only was Dracula. He come in the nighttime because he can't come out in the daytime. And he wants the red blood. And this guy is outfitted and completely in red. And guess who else is considered completely in red? The devil himself. What's it? The colors of Lucifer? Red with a little bit of black. And the Santa Claus is the same thing. And I want you to think about something. Every time you put a little baby, a little kid with the Santa Claus and sit him on the lap to take a picture, the kid go crazy and be scared to death crying. And people just think it's so funny to watch their kids sit up there crying and they can't understand why. It's because that's a frightening monster to them. That's why. And it's not funny sitting up there laughing at your babies like that. Think about all of this. And next time you go, I want y'all to think and pay attention to what you're doing and really see it. You're taking your kid to the sacrifice altar, giving them to Baal, aka Santa Claus. And once they get that and get a load of, I get gifts and all that kind of thing, they're hooked for life, most of them, and don't want to let it go. Most adults don't want to let it go, even though they know it's a lie. Now let's finish reading this. The doctrine of Balaam. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. God hates the Nicolaitans, which is the Christianity, because the Christianity allows you to mix all the pagan heathen stuff with things that you say belong to God. That's what the Nicolaitans is. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. So if you keep it up, he's going to come and he's going to fight against you and talk about you in a negative, very negative way. Don't do the things of Balaam. And what was Balaam doing? Teaching the men and women to intermingle and intermarry with the children of the strangers and not stick with their own. That was the doctrine of Balaam. Because if he could get you to give your daughters to their sons and give the sons to the daughters, that mixing will cause us to all of a sudden, now we're going to go to the holiday party. Now we're just going to go, oh, it's just a dinner. We're just going to go over to my friend's house and have some dinner. And you get over there, they got trees and Santa Claus and bunny rabbits, Easter eggs, and everything else. And it's stuff that long ago you were not allowed to have anything to do with it. Now that you've been allowed to be a part of it, how's it working for you? Now that you celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of that, are you having a good time in the country that you're in right now? Are they treating your children right? Last time I checked, they were still shooting kids dead in the street, even though they didn't have guns. Last time I looked, they was my hands is up, don't shoot protests. And every one of them celebrate Christmas. Every one of them celebrate Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. We got the Christmas spirit. Happy Halloween. Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, we do all of this stuff. Go to church on a Sunday and all of that. And go out there and get killed. Go out there and get treated wrong. Go out there and still suffer racism. Go out there and still suffer prejudice. Now, I know there's things that we do to each other, but I also know that these people say that you're free and you're not. These people say that you're equal and you're not. These people say that you can go to a court of law and get justice and you cannot. These people will lock you up on a false charge, then get evidence presented that you did not do the crime, whether it be on a camera or DNA evidence. And according to their law, it don't have to be brought up unless the state attorney or the district attorney bring it up. So if they don't bring it up, you stay in the jail. What that's not justice. That's evil. That's what that is. That's evil. Now, what kind of spirit really is there that's going around? If that's the Christmas spirit, I don't want none of it. Anyway, he that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. To him that overcomes will I give to eat of the hidden manna. So God says, if you do what I say and follow my law, I'm going to even feed you like I fed your fathers and mothers back in the day. You ain't going to have to go to Walmart no more. I'm going to give you this hidden manna. I'm going to give you the good stuff. I'm going to give you the same thing that the angels themselves eat. The immortal angels, you will be eating the food of the immortals. Now that's some good stuff. And we'll give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written. And then he's going to change your name and give you a new name, because everything else is going to be gone. And now he's going to make things new. And that's going to include you with your name. And unto the angel of the church in Thyatira write, these things says the Son of God, who has his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know thy works and charity and service and faith and patience and thy works, and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calls herself a prophetess. So she can tell a lie and be in the church doing a whole bunch of talking and just lying. She ain't no prophetess. She just old heifer that's running around masquerading like a minister of light, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Oh, she gonna have the church decked out. Oh, them church ladies gonna be decorating that church. You gonna come in there one of them Sundays, it's gonna have all kind of trees up in there, and they're gonna have all kind of Santa Claus and all that, and crosses and everything. So y'all won't have no worry about no vampires, because there's gonna be all kind of crosses in there. And then you're gonna have Santa Claus flying around up in there, having your other god in there flying on his sleigh. And then you're going to have Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, up in there. He got a shiny nose for you. And then your kids can get involved and everything. And you can all go to hell while you're singing your songs. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because I like Nat King Cole. But, you know, it is what it is. And I know he was singing them songs to, you know, he didn't know. And a lot of stuff we just don't know, but we do it and we don't know why we're doing it. And we never take time to find out. We completely forget God and get lost in the world that we're in because we've become assimilated and we're trying to get along with these folk and we just don't want no trouble. And if it means I could do a song and a dance to make you a little bit happy, then I'll do that. And then maybe I'll get a little reprieve. But I remember when he moved into that neighborhood with them white folks, they about burned his house down. As a matter of fact, I think they put a cross out there and burned it. And y'all just loved the crosses. Well, they gave Nat King Cole a cross, put it right in his front yard and set it on fire. Yeah, they did. And they did it to a lot of our people. And y'all can't wait to go get a cross tattooed on you or to go get one and put it on your neck and be a bishop and a priest and a pastor and all this and have all these big old giant crucifixes on like you Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You can't wait to go get that. Why? Because you saw that Catholic man with a cross, but you saw that same slave master coming over there with a cross. He had it on his ship sails. Then he had a priest come over there and bless the slave and put the slave on the boat. And then some of the slaves, the priest took them back to the archdiocese. That, you know, there were slaves with them too. Oh yeah. Look it up. See what you done got yourself into. But that's only if you want the truth. Maybe some of you don't want the truth. This is just like the Matrix. Some of y'all want to keep the red pill and don't want the blue pill. You want to go right back into the Matrix and stay stupid. And it's okay if that's what you want to do. But you're going to wake up in the lake of fire is what's going to happen. And then you ain't going to be sleepy no more. Because there ain't going to be no more sleep for you there. And you're not going to burn up because it's going to be eternal pain. Yep. And that's the God that we serve. Vengeance will be mine, says the Lord. And you will pay for not listening. You pay for not listening now. You know, some of the people say, how can we have a God that'll put people in the fire? I'm going to ask you something. How can you have a government that has a police department that locks people up for no damn reason? How can you have a judge that locks people up without evidence? And how can you have a government that allows people to stay in jail when the evidence of innocence is presented and they still stay in there? Now, how's that? Before you criticize God because you can't reach out and touch him, criticize yourself and your own systems that you can reach out and touch at any time you want. Think about that while you're running your mouth. And how can you have a God that does this and does that? The same way that you got people that do raping, pillaging, burning, war, stealing, destroying the doggone ecosystem, dropping all kind of stuff into the river, into the oceans. That's how. The same way that you've been doing, tearing up stuff. That's how. Now let me stick to this here. I gave her space to repent for her fornication, but she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. So you have time to stop if you quit doing what she do. If you stop this holidays, you'll be doing yourself a great justice. You'll do yourself a justice financially. You'll do yourself a justice mentally because you won't be stressed out. You'll do yourself a justice by God himself because you'll be turning back to him, repenting from the foolish way that you've been going. And look what happens if you don't do it. And I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searches the reins and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. And ain't that what Santa Claus do? He give you according to your works, but God does according to your works here. Now, what's the key about this? I will kill her children with death. Do you know that most of them gangbangers that are killing each other in Chicago, New York, LA, Detroit, Miami, Kansas City, Memphis, Tennessee, all of that. Do you know that the majority of them are talking about some Merry Christmas to people? Do you know that the majority of them celebrate every holiday we got? These devilish acting people that are straight up killers that can't be trusted as much as you can pick them up and throw them. Most of them are wearing crosses. Most of them call themselves Christians. Most of them accompany their mama to church. Most of them love their grandmama and go with their grandmama to church. And most of them will Merry Christmas you and Happy Thanksgiving you and Happy Valentine's Day you to death. None of it is making a difference in their life in doing these things. You're not being decent by doing these things. Now, let's go to Genesis 34, chapter 1. And why we want to go there? Because we want to talk about the situation with Dinah. And I know y'all are like, what on earth does this have to do with the holidays? It won't take but a minute. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. That's what she was doing. They were in a place that was foreign to them. And Dinah wanted to go out tonight. No different than the girls say today. You know, this Saturday and then nighttime come. And girl, what you doing tonight? I don't know. I'm finna go outside in the street. I'm finna get it done up, get in the car, take a ride, and see where the road take me. That's what they say. Yeah, that's what they say. I'm gonna go get me a margarita, a mojito, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel and spake kindly unto the damsel. Yeah, he spake real kind unto her after he done literally sexually assaulted her. Now you want to be nice? You done took her, did the deed, scared her half to death, kidnapped her and all of that. And now you want to talk about how sweet you are on her? That is not cool, bro. That is not cool. Now, that's such a brief description. Now we're going to go to Jasher 33 and get the more detailed description because I really want you to see this backstory. Jasher chapter 33, verse 1. And in some time after Jacob went away from the borders of the land, he came to the land of Shalem, that is the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, and he rested in front of the city. And he bought a parcel. So he's on his way to where God is telling him to go, but he stops in this place. And so he doesn't finish going where God wants him to be. So he stops over here. And he bought a parcel of the field, which was there from the children of Hamor, the people of the land, for 5 shekels. And Jacob there built himself a house, and he pitched his tent there, and he made booths for his cattle. Therefore, he called the name of that place Succoth. So he's pretty much setting up shop. So he's going to be there for a minute. He is investing in this city. He's not just taking a rest. He's just going to sit down. And Jacob remained in Succoth a year and 6 months. So his break was a year and 6 months. You know, at work, you get a 15-minute break. He said that he was just going to take a rest, but the rest was a year and 6 months. At that time, some of the women of the inhabitants of the land went to the city of Shechem to dance and rejoice with the daughters of the people of the city. So the women of the land of Canaan and maybe other surrounding areas would go to Shechem, to the party, to the club. Yeah, they would go to the club there and dance and all of that and rejoice and just have a good time. Now, these are the ladies. They had ladies' night, basically. Oh, yeah. And then remember that song? Oh, yeah, it's ladies' night and the feeling's right. Oh, yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night. Yeah. And that's what was going on. And they went to the city. And when they went forth, then Rachel and Leah, the wives of Jacob, with their families, also went to behold the rejoicing of the daughters of the city. So they heard the shindig going on. They heard it. They heard that music. You know, sometimes you're in your house and you hear some music out there, and next thing you know, oh, that's my song. And then they had to go see what that is. These are the ladies now, not the men. The ladies, when they heard that, they got themselves together and had to go see. All of them went. Now, see, that description is not in the book of Genesis, but it's in the book of Jasher, a far more detailed, deeper explanation about what's really going on. All these women went together to the club. which is exactly what women do now in 2023. Girls will get together and, girl, what you doing tonight? Let's go to the club. Well, call Charlene, call Tawana, call Sherry, call Tina. We all gonna go to the club together. Nothing's changed. So they went to the city, and Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, also went with them and saw the daughters of the city. So she checking it out, seeing what they looking like, seeing what they wearing, checking them up and down. Some of them got on red bottoms. Some of them got on the little pencil skirt. Some of them got on a flared skirt. Some of them got on short shorts. Some of them got on Daisy Dukes. Oh, I know they was doing it. I know they was doing it. And they remained there before these daughters, whilst all the people of the city were standing by them to behold their rejoicings. And all the great people of the city were there. So even though mostly women went, it was men there too, because it was all the people came. And some of them was standing by. And y'all know how it is. Y'all ladies go to the club. It's a bunch of men holding up the wall. It's a bunch of men say, hey, you want me to buy you a drink and all that kind of stuff. And eventually the men come out of the woodwork. And Shechem, the son of Hamor, the prince of the land, was also standing there to see them. So he there, and he the prince. And he's there too, checking out the little mamas. I know what's happening. I remember my club days. I used to do the same thing. And Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, sitting with her mother. She was sitting with her mother. You've been to the club before? Somebody sitting at a table. They're not even dancing, but they over there looking good. I know exactly what happened. Now we getting all of these details. Sitting with her mother before the daughters of the city, and the damsel pleased him greatly. And he there asked his friends and his people, saying, because they're amongst foreign people now, whose daughter is that sitting amongst the women whom I do not know in this city? And ain't that what the brothers do now? Hey, do you know who that is over there? And somebody probably do know. And they said unto him, surely this is the daughter of Jacob, the son of Isaac, the Hebrew. He's not one of us. They're not one of us. These are Hebrews. It is specified right here in the book of Jasher what we are. Not black, not African American, Hebrew, aka Israel, children of Israel, who has dwelt in this city for some time. And when it was reported that the daughters of the land were going forth to rejoice, she went with her mother and maid servants to sit amongst them, as thou sawest. And Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and when he looked at her, his soul became fixed upon her. He fell in love. Some of y'all would say he fell in love, but what would some of y'all other ladies say? Y'all would say he turned into a stalker. That's what y'all would say. He was once he was infatuated with her, and he stalking her. He didn't probably take his eyes off her at all. And that starts, y'all ladies are flattered when a man checks y'all out, but y'all are not flattered at all when he is fixated on you and acts like a stalker and scares you half to death. It's like he's looking through you and everything. And he sent and had her taken by force. He sent some of his people over there because he's the prince. So he probably had security with him, and he had her taken by force. She didn't want to go, and they took her anyway, kidnapped her at the club in front of her mama and everybody. And Dinah came to the house of Shechem, and he seized her forcibly. She probably was like, when she came there, yeah, she came, because finally she's like, look, let me try to talk to you, man. Let me tell you something. Chill out. We ain't got to go like this. Don't do all of this here. So she was like, I'm going to sit with you, watch a little TV. We can watch Netflix and all that. And then you can let me go on back home. Let me make a phone call to daddy, and we can, everything be cool. No, he took her. He seized her forcibly and lay with her and humbled her. She did not feel happy at all with this situation. She was humbled. She was broken mentally. When a person does this to somebody with these kinds of assaults, it causes depression and changes them in their mind. And now they can't even look at people the same no more. They don't even think about places. She probably never went to a club no more in her life after that. After she finally got rescued, she probably just was like, I'm staying in the house. And he loved her exceedingly and placed her in his house. Now, just because he loved her, he placed her in his house. He held her hostage, is what he did. Now, what I want you to see is in this, the people had this shindig going on this entire time where they came and they did this. Now, I want you to see something else. Let's go over to Judges 1 and 2 about not, because he wants to keep her and marry her, and then he's going to offer the brothers and the daddy that, look, let me get your daughter, and then y'all can take some of our sons and daughters too, and we can mix and mingle, even though we not the same. We ain't got the same rules and stuff, but let us roll together. Now, God has continually told them, don't do that, because if you do, the people are going to cause you to turn from me, and then I'm going to be mad at you. Now, you wouldn't think that just because you roll out with some other woman that would make you not follow God no more, but it will. You would think that if you go to a couple of Christmas parties, that it's not going to make you forget God, but it will, because it will start making you think about the God called Santa Claus, and you'll be so busy worried about him coming through the chimney at night, you won't be worried about God of heaven no more. You'll be worried about the gifts that you can get and what kind of big old tree you can have and your decorations. And you'll be so focused on the world, you will forget about God completely. See, most of us have forgot about the Sabbath day. We do church on Sunday, most of us. We done completely forgot about God. We done disregarded it. Then we make up stuff and say stuff like, I could worship him any day of the week. But you don't. It don't matter if I worship him on Sunday. What difference do it make? The difference is when you say you want something, like you go over to the restaurant. Say you go to Longhorn. I like Longhorn. I like Texas Roadhouse. I like the hibachi place. Eat the Chinese food. If I order a ribeye steak, the outlaw, the big steak with the bone in it, and they bring me a filet mignon, I can tell the difference immediately. The filet mignon is that little center cut piece of steak that's about big as a fist, but that ribeye that's the outlaw size is as big as my face. So you can either have a steak this size or a steak this size, and it's got a bone in it for flavor. If you order the big steak and they bring you the little one, you're going to say to the hostess, whoever it be, a woman or a man, you brought me the wrong thing. Please bring me what I asked for. And if you don't, you're going to want your money back. You're not going to like the service. You're probably going to want to leave. You're probably not going to want to go there no more. You might even leave a bad review and all kinds. I mean, it's going to totally change everything. So if you feel that way about something to eat, how do you think God feels about his rules? You're upset when somebody don't bring you what you asked for. What do you think happens when you don't bring God what he asked for? Or are you more important than God? Think about it. Now let's continue. Over here, let's go to uh, Book of Jasher, chapter 18, and see the origin of this Valentine's Day and get an idea of what made this Shechem think he could do some crap like this in the first place. Let's go to verse 11 through 15. We're about to see the origin of Valentine's Day with this. In those days, all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and of the whole 5 cities were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord, and they provoked the Lord with their abomination. And they strengthened in aging abominably and scornfully before the Lord, and their wickedness and crimes were in those days great before the Lord. Now, a lot of us think of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the first thing come to our mind is homosexuality. It's way deeper than that. It's way deeper than that. And now you're about to find out the first listed sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was not homosexuality. Now, is it in the list? Sure it is. But we're not going to get to that today. We're going to get to the first listed sin, which is similar to why I'm bringing up the situation with Dinah. And they had in their land a very extensive valley. So there was an area that they could go to, like here in Jacksonville, because I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. There's an area downtown called the Landing, and it's got a big open field, and it's by the lake and all that. So it's very pretty. Then you've got another place that's called Memorial Park that's over by the hospital area, and it's got a big field, a big old giant fountain, trees, groves, and all that kind of stuff, vegetation over there, very beautiful backdrop and all of that kind of thing. People bring their dogs out there and all that kind of stuff. This is similar. Big cities usually have that. About half a day's walk. So this place is huge. Now, of course, today in a car, it wouldn't take long to get around, but this whole joint was a half a day's walk. It was huge. Now, technically, a half a day's walk, my goodness, it would take to get from, this thing is cities wide. This is miles, square miles wide. It's huge, a huge park. You go to a place like Great America, Six Flags, Busch Gardens, they're big parks, but you can get through those parks by just walking. It can take you what? An hour, 2 hours to get around the whole park if you just walk through it. But this took a half a day's walk, a half of a day. So it would take, basically, the daytime is considered 12 hours. It would take 6 hours to get around this place just walking. It was huge. And in there were fountains of water and a great deal of herbage surrounding the water. So it was like a water park almost. It was a place where, the botanical type garden with the groves and the trees and all that kind of thing, and some flowers and bushes and whatnot with some water in the backdrop. Beautiful place. So when you look at it, it looks great. And it's very big. It can accommodate a lot of people. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah went there 4 times in the year with their wives and children and all belonging to them. And they rejoiced there with timbrels and dances. So here we go with the parties again. So 4 times a year, they had this party in Sodom and Gomorrah area where they went to go do this here. And it was at a specified place 4 times in a year. And they would bring the whole family. It was a big celebration. Everybody would come. Sound just like that situation that was going on with Dinah and them. And in the time of rejoicing, they would all rise and lay hold of their neighbors' wives, and some the virgin daughters of their neighbors. And they enjoyed them. And each man saw his wife and daughter in the hands of his neighbors and did not say a word. Oh my goodness. This is what they were doing. It was a sex orgy with no volunteers. This is the beginning of the Valentine Day. That's what this is. You get to pick who you want for the day, and then tomorrow, no regrets, no talking about it. It's all over. Now, how do I know that? Also, when a stranger came into the, oh no, I don't want to read that part. But, and they did so from morning to night, and they afterward returned home, each man to his house, and each woman to her tent. So they always did 4 times in the year, and everything was good. So you probably, they was walking around and saying, "Ooh, I can't wait till the Valentine Day. I'm gonna get Mr. Jenkins because that's who I want." And Mr. Jenkins was over there talking about, "Ooh, when I see Miss Sally at the Valentine Day celebration, oh, I'm getting her." And then unfortunately, you got them perverts that wanted the little girls, the little kids, and they didn't care that they was virgins, and they would take them. Now, don't think this didn't go for homosexual activity, because it probably did. It was both ways, and it was young and old, virgin or what, it doesn't matter. 4 times in a year they did this. This is your Valentine's Day that you celebrate right now. This is its origins. And this is probably why Shechem thought it was just fine to do what he did, because in the land of the Canaanites, and remember, the area of Shechem was in Canaan, they could do these things. This was their custom. This was their ritual. In this country, there's a custom of Valentine's Day. There's a custom of Thanksgiving. There's a custom of Christmas. Some of people come over here from other places and they're like, what is Valentine's Day? What is Thanksgiving? What is Christmas? That stuff ain't celebrated everywhere on earth. Then they come over here and get a load of this stuff, and then they change. A lot of people that start off eating good, as in healthy, come over to this country and get a load of McDonald's, Burger King, and hot dogs and chips and everything else. Next thing you know, they fat as a cow. Now they got all kind of cholesterol, but when they was at home, they didn't have no sicknesses. Now they get to this country, everything changed. Those girls that's overseas and they Islam and cover themselves with the hijab, they get over here, take all that off. They change everything. They couldn't wait to get away from their country. So now they ain't got to do none of the stuff that they did before, and they can go straight to the club after work and go to what we call happy hour and get drunk and wasted and end up in trouble. It's a real problem. But now you see what happens when they go to the club and they go to the places where they shouldn't be, and they're amongst the people of the land, and they're mixing and they're doing things that they shouldn't do. And if they hadn't mixed with them people, they would not be in the predicament that they're in. Honestly, if Dinah and her mom and her aunt hadn't went out to the club that night, none of that would have happened. But of course, you hear the music and all of that, and you're not thinking that something like this is going to happen, but things happen. I get it, but we should do the things that God tell us to do, because He'll keep us safe. Now we think He's a spoil sport. I remember when I first heard all these rules, I thought, my goodness, he just don't want us to do nothing. You mean I can't eat no shrimp no more? I can't eat no crab. I can't do this. I can't do that. I mean, my goodness, he's a jerk. He's just, what difference does it make about the food? Then you get to the doctor's office and the doctor can't wait to tell you, you can't eat no more salt. You can't smoke no more. You can't have the stuff with too much cholesterol. You eat too much butter. You got no more fried food for you, and no more hot food for you, and no more hot sauce, and no more barbecue sauce, and no more steak sauce. You can't have this stuff no more. It's hurting you. That's what the doctor say. And then when the doctor say it, you don't get mad at the doctor. But when it's God saying it, who made your soul, you upset with him and don't want to have nothing to do with him no more. And just, I ain't being with him no more, and I don't want nothing else to do with him. Because he don't want me to have no chicken. I can't have no fried chicken no more. I'm done. I'm done with him. And I want pork chops and ham and all of this kind of thing. And then you're done. I want the crab boil. I ain't gonna be with no God that don't let me have the crab boil on the weekend. And I want butterfly shrimp and prawns. And I'm going right out there to the lake and I'm gonna go get it myself fresh. And I ain't gonna tell nobody about it. Well, that's no problem. Read the book of Isaiah, chapter 65 and 66, and find out what God think about you slipping behind the trees, eating swine flesh. He gonna burn you up with the rest of the people. It's gonna be considered highly serious business to God. Might not be serious to you, but it's serious to the doctor in regards to your health, and it's serious to God in regards to your soul. I think you better rethink before you start talking. But in this case, we're just talking about the holidays, which will have all of that extra food and have you doing stuff and have all of these colors and making you think everything's okay. This is so fun. It's great. Next thing you know, you're forgetting about God. Now let's go to the book of Judges. We're going to go to Judges chapter 1. And we're going to see something here. Now, after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, who shall go up for us against the Canaanites first to fight against them? So I'm going to skip through some of this. The Israelites start trying to take the land, but a few of them do well. Judah does well. Joseph's group does well. But these other ones didn't do too good. Now I'm going to go to the ones that didn't do too good. Let's go down to verse 27. Neither did Manasseh drive out the inhabitants of Beth-shean and her towns, nor Tanakh and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Dor and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Iblim and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Megiddo and her towns, but the Canaanites would dwell in that land. They were supposed to get all of the Canaanites out of there. Remember, this is the land of Canaan, and they didn't. They weren't able to beat these people because they started mixing and mingling and doing the things that they were doing and lost the blessing of God because they decided to intermarry, do their holidays and all of that, and turn away from God. They were not being Hebrew Israelites anymore. Now they were being, French, American, English, Belgium. They were doing all of this stuff now. Now they weren't being what they were. They were trying to be something else. They were assimilating into something else when God wanted them to be a separate, holy people unto himself. And the people were not satisfied with God. Remember, they told Samuel, we want a king like everybody else got. God was their king. God was their leader. They didn't want that. God was not enough for them. They wanted some dudes out there, and we've been in trouble with these dudes ever since. And it came to pass when Israel was strong that they put the Canaanites to tribute and did not utterly drive them out. So they finally got it together in strength. But once they got strong, they decided to keep them there and just make them pay taxes to them and not actually put them out. Once again, mingling and mixing. Neither did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites. So one by one, the sons of Jacob start doing the wrong thing. Manasseh start doing the wrong thing. Ephraim start doing the wrong thing. And let's look here. Zebulun did the wrong thing. Asher did the wrong thing. Naphtali did the wrong thing. It just the Amorites forced the children of Dan into the mountain, for they would not suffer them to come down to the valley. I mean, we just got all kind of problems over here. Now it looks like the tribe of Joseph and the tribe of Judah did okay. And Simeon was rolling with Judah at this time. Now, let's go to chapter 2 and see what we find here. And the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Bochum and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt. Now, this angel of the Lord is an angel that's speaking on behalf of God. And he's the one that was there to help them to come out of Egypt and block Pharaoh and his army from them and all of that. This is that same angel. And in truth, who this is Michael, the archangel, because Michael is over the children of Israel. That's the one angel for our people. Every place has an angel. Every nation has an angel. Every power and principality has an angel. Our people, the children of the slaves, our angel that is over us is Michael, who just so happens to be the archangel, the number one guy up there. Technically, that would make him the one that we call the Messiah, aka the Son of God. That's who that would be. Now, let's read here what he's got to say. I made you to go up out of Egypt and have brought you into the land which I swear unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. We had a deal. We had a contract and an arrangement. And you shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. You shall throw down their altars. So when you come up on their stuff, you will destroy it. You will not be holding it, taking it in your house, checking it out, keeping it for souvenirs, making museums. You will get rid of it. But you have not obeyed my voice. Why have you done this? Wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their gods shall be a snare unto you. So you want your Christmas and you want their gods like Santa Claus, and you want him to bring you some gifts instead of me bringing them? Fine. There's going to be a thorn to you and a snare unto you. And when you run into a problem, you call on Santa Claus. Don't call me. Let him come see you. Oh, he only come see you in the wintertime? He don't see you in the summer, spring, or fall? He only come in the winter months, huh? When it's cold outside? Well, that's what the devil do. The devil's the one that run around in the cold. When you're dead, the body get cold. And God is not the God of the dead. He's the God of the living. He's the God of the one that have a temperature that's warm and hot. And typically when a person's body temperature, the average body temperature is what, 100 and something degrees? Was it like 102 or something like that? 98 or something like that? It's pretty hot. But when you die, you cold like ice. And you even change color. like ice, like when water changes into something else when it's frozen and it don't look the same anymore. Yeah, think about it. And that's your Santa Claus, the one that's in the snow up there in the Alaska in the freezing temperature. Only come out one time a year, like Odin, because Odin would sleep, the Odin sleep, and then he wake up eventually to do something, and then he got to go back to bed because he'd be tired after all his working that he'd be doing. That's your Santa Claus. And he fat and can't get around that much. That's Odin. And he's got all these reindeer. That's Odin. Yep. Well, let's continue reading. And it came to pass when the angel of the Lord spake these words unto the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voice and wept. And they called the name of that place Bochim, and they sacrificed there unto the Lord. And when Joshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man unto his inheritance to possess the land. And all the people served the Lord all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen all the great works of the Lord that he did for Israel. So while our leadership was still alive, they did right. So while Joshua was alive, they did right. And while the ones that Joshua taught was alive, they did right. But then after that, all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose after that. You want to know why? Let's go. Let's go look. And also, all that generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there arose another generation after them, which knew not the Lord, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Balaam. And your Santa Claus is also like Baal, Baal. And they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt. So the same God that brought them out of slavery, they forsook them again and followed other gods of the people that they were mingling with, that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them and provoked the Lord to anger. Now, what does that mean? They were bowing themselves. I remember when I used to be a kid and I was going to the Catholic church when sometimes we had to go to mass, and mass is the church service for the Catholics. And so we go in there and the rules was when you walked in, you first thing you had to do is take your finger and dip it in this sponge of supposed holy water and then do the sign of the cross on your, touch your head, touch down here, touch your shoulder, and touch your other shoulder. That's the first thing you did. And then you walk up to the door. And before you step through, you bow in obeisance. Then you walk up to the altar and you bow. Then you go to your seat, wherever the nuns would tell you to sit at. Then you had to get their communion. And he would tell you this is the blood, blah, blah, blah. And so this was the rules if you went to the school. These were the rules. And so they indoctrinated you in doing the sign of the cross, and it's doing the sign of crucifying yourself, doing the sign of killing, which they used to crucify us and kill us. Like I told you, there was 2 other men hanging up there with the Messiah that day. It was no big deal for them to hang us and kill us. Just like in the times of Jim Crow, they would hang us multiple people sometimes. Be a bunch of us just dangling from trees all over town, dangling from bridges, dangling from courthouses. They would dangle niggas everywhere. It was just something that they did. And they would have a party. They would even print it in a newspaper and say, come see the niggas that we lynched and put in a tree. We're going to bring them out here to such and such. Heck, it might be even called the Line of David park. Come on out here at 12 o'clock noon and bring your picnic lunch with you. And we're going to watch the niggas dangle in the tree. And we're going to strip them, cut them up, castrate them. You can take home souvenir, take pictures with the burning nigga, all of that kind of stuff. And they used to be smiling and happy. And this was not long ago. It's 2023 right now. They were doing this stuff constantly throughout the teens, 20s, 30s, and through the 40s, and up into the 50s. Then finally, towards the 60s, it started to decline and slow down. Now they only do it in secret. But every now and then it comes out. To this day. To this day. I live here in Jacksonville, Florida. There was a guy that was killed not long ago down there by the border of Jacksonville at his work. And he had told his mother ahead of time that if I'm dead, my people at my job did it. And that was what, 2022? That was either last year or at the beginning of this year. Yeah. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Y'all better remember where y'all at. Now look at this. And they forsook the Lord and served Baal and Ashtaroth. Because sometimes you go to the party and they got Baal. Other time you go to the party, they got Ashtaroth. Other time you go to the party, you got Thanksgiving. Other time you go to the party, they got Santa Claus and Kris Kringle. Yeah. Then they go to them party, they say, no, we got Saint Nick. Then you go to a different party in another town and they say, no, we got Santa Claus. It's all the same foolishness though. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of the spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about, so that they could no longer stand before their enemies. Put them right back in slavery again. This is how we ended up in slavery over and over and over. We were always freed. Once we acted like we had some sense, then we cut up again right after we got free. And that has been our thing over and over again. And what we do is we try to assimilate with the people that enslave us to try to make them happy to leave us alone. And we think that they're going to be cool with us, but they're not. They're not going to be cool. You can go to their church all the time and wish them the Christmas spirit and all of that, and even bring them parties. What's the thing? We're going to have a Secret Santa and we're going to trade gifts. Yeah, and they will fire your black ass not the next week. You will not get all the goodness that you think you're going to get. Test it and see. Test it and see. And it came to pass, God put judges in charge. And it came to pass when the judge was dead that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their father. So each time this happened, we got worse and worse with it. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he said, because that this people has transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice, I also will henceforth drive them out from before them. Won't drive out the nations from before them, that through them I may prove Israel. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And in Judges 10, God says, go cry unto the gods that you have chosen and let them deliver you in your times of tribulation. That's what God ends up saying. In Judges chapter 10, verses 1 through 16, he done got sick of it. Now let's go to the wisdom of Solomon and see where this all came from in the first place. Solomon chapter 14. Again, one preparing himself to sail and about to pass through the raging waves, calleth upon a piece of wood more rotten than the vessel that carrying him. So he get of some wood and he start calling on that. He done carved himself a little statue. For verily desire of gain devised that, and the workman built it by skill. But thy providence, O Father, governeth it. For thou hast made a way in the sea and a safe path in the waves. So they're going to try to blame this on God and say, your providence got me through this. But my little trinket that I got, my little, what do they call it when you got my little charm that I have helped me get through this, a talisman. uh, Nevertheless, thou wouldest not that the works of thy wisdom should be idle, and therefore do men commit their lives to a small piece of wood, and passing through a rough sea in a weak vessel are saved. They really think that when they make these little statues that it means something. For in the old time, when the proud giants perished, now this is during the time that the giants were around, the hope of the world governed by the hand escaped in a weak vessel and left to all ages a seed of generation. That's talking about Noah. For blessed is the wood whereby righteousness cometh, but that which is made with hands is cursed, as well it as he that made it, because he made it. And it, because being corruptible, it was called God. They ended up making stuff and calling it God. And today you got your little Jesus statues and Jesus pictures that you're not supposed to have any of that. No idols and no other gods before me, but we do it anyway. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto God. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. You're going to be punished for that idolatry. That stuff is punishable. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles, now here's what the Gentiles do, shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of God they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by vain glory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. By vainglory, these holidays are around. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. And these ceremonies and sacrifices became holidays and feasts. This is, Pope Borgia had a son named Caesar Borgia, and he's the image of what we have as the white Jesus that most people see today. And he had his son sit and pose while he was still alive, and they used him as the image of the one that people call Christ. So we know exactly who that guy is. It's not the Messiah. He did not come from the kingdom of heaven. Not that dude. He came from Pope Borgia out there in Rome. And he came way after the apostles were here. So Peter and them never met this guy. Mm-mm. This was Pope Borgia's son. He wasn't around when Peter and them were alive. Whole different situation. Look it up. Maybe even got some Shakespeare stuff about it called the War of the Roses. Anyway, thus in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law. So the ungodly custom of this grew stronger and became a law. We have a law about Christmas. You get 2 days extra off work, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. That's the law in the United States. Well, I won't say it's the law, but it's the custom that we go by, and it's like a law. Most businesses are closed on that day. It is serious business. It's considered holy amongst them. They take it seriously. It's not some, oh no, we don't look at it as serious as you think. You take it serious enough that you pay people to not be at work on it. It's that serious. It's paid holiday. It's a paid holiday. All these holidays are paid. Now, none of the holy days are paid. The holy days aren't even paid attention to, let alone paid for. But these are so serious that they're paid holidays. They are considered as a benefit. And really, it's going to get you put into hell. But anyway, let's continue. And graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. The kings will say, yeah, come on out and celebrate the Christmas and bring your tree. And don't forget, bring me some of the food that we have for this day. Whom men could not honor in presence because they dwelt far off, they took the counterfeit of his visage from far. So they started having, when they couldn't be there in person, they started bringing pictures and posters, hanging them on the wall so they could honor this day. And then eventually they start putting up decorations. Now today we put the decorations out in the yard and everything. And people get to win a yard of the season and all this kind of, there were awards given out. This is serious business. And people get in a car and go across town just to ride in front of a neighborhood that got a bunch of that stuff going on. So they could just look at it and say, oh, I'm going to see the lights. I'm going to see the lights. Yeah, that's what they do. I'm going to see the lights. You ain't seen no lights before? You ain't seen no fireworks before? Now you're going to see the lights like it's some great grand thing that you ain't never seen before. You done seen it. It's the same old mess running up your electric bill that you got to pay for. Now you're crying because you broke. But you go see the lights. And when you hanging them up, hope you don't fall off the ladder. You got all of this stuff going on that has nothing to do with God. And you are stressing yourself out, breaking yourself because it's the holiday season. And let's look at the rest of this. And made an express image of a king whom they honored to the end that with this their forwardness, they might flatter him that was absent as if he were present. So they just kissing ass, basically. I understand. Also, the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition. And now we're superstitious about it. If you don't got no, why you ain't got no Christmas tree? Why you didn't wrap my gift? Why you ain't got on the Christmas hat? Why you don't got no decorations in your yard? You don't say Merry Christmas. I say Merry Christmas to you. You don't say Merry Christmas back. Why you not in the Secret Santa program? I mean, it done turned into something where you consider not even a citizen if you don't do these things. If you don't do it, you must be a terrorist or something. And really, all you're trying to do is stick to the law. That's all you're trying to do. You're just not trying to bother nobody. If you want to do it, then you do it. But I'm not going to have nothing to do with it. Why you want to beat me up about it? For he, peradventure, willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion. That's what they do with their yards. I'm gonna decorate this stuff, and I'm gonna get all kind of people gonna be like, man, he got the best house. Ooh, I want him to help me decorate next time. Ooh, he got the best tree. Ooh, he got the best decorations. And then at work, ooh, their desk is decorated the most. And this was an occasion to deceive the world. For men serving either calamity or tyranny did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name. They decided to give the stones and wood God's name and say that's God. And that's exactly what they've been doing. And now you say that the Christmas time is God's birthday or the God's son's birthday. And it's a lie. And y'all know y'all lying. Y'all know y'all lying. And then you say, well, I'm just doing it for the kids. You ain't had no kids in years. Your kids grown up and gone. What you talking about? Quit telling that lie. And some of y'all ain't never had no kids. Some of y'all can't have kids and you telling lies. This is for you. And it's okay. There's a place in hell for you. And you gonna go there with your Kris Kringle and your chestnuts roasting on an open fire. For the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. That's verse 27. For either they are mad when they be merry, Merry Christmas, or prophesy lies, at the church and everywhere else. This is the spirit, blah, blah, blah. Or live unjustly because they don't follow the law, or else lightly forswear themselves. Just put things behind them as if it's nothing, when to God it's a lot. For insomuch as their trust it is in idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt. Howbeit, for both causes shall they be justly punished. You will be punished for this, both because they thought not well of God, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. You didn't care about what God felt, and you cared more about your idols, and you will be punished with your Christmas colors on. Okay. Now, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10, and let's see what he said. Hear the word of the Lord. Thus say the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with his axe. They decked it with silver and gold. They made the Christmas tree and they chopped it down and they brought it to the house and they set it all up. They are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities. That tree, that Christmas tree is a doctrine of vanities. Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish. Because remember, when you have these holidays, now you got to have a feast. and they break out the good fine china. Oh yeah, these are the times you go over to your uncle's house. I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to my uncle's house. I didn't know no better. And he broke out the good stuff. Some of the stuff was silver and gold. And I remember I used to want to be at the grown folk table because they had gold trim and gold forks and all this. Oh, it was beautiful. It was so pleasing to the eyes. I was mesmerized and dazzled by the time of the year. It seemed like something holy. Then I come to find out later it was pagan and heathen the whole time, but it sure looked good. Uh, Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz, the work of the workman, and the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. Now, in our season now, for Christmas is green and red, but this one is saying blue and purple. They are all the cunning work of men, but the Lord is the true God. He is the living God and everlasting King. At his wrath, the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation. He gonna be mad. That indignation is God's fury, and he gonna tear some stuff up. Thus shall ye say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth and from under these heavens. He gonna get rid of your Santa Claus. All of it's gonna go. Every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. It's falsehood. This is your holiday. They are vanity and the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. When I come around now, I'm going to tear up everything and it's going to perish. God said, keep playing with me. Mess around and find out. When I show up and I do an inspection, you're going to have a problem. Let me come in your house and find all them trees up in there. Let me come in your yard and you got Santa Claus and Kris Kringles and reindeers and all that crap up out there. Let me come in the Halloween time and see all of them goblins and ghosts in your house, and you got your baby dressed up like the vampire and the devil. Let me find out. Let me come over there during the Valentine's time and catch you with the sweethearts and the Easter bunnies and all that in the Easter time, and you need your new Easter suit. I mean, the stuff is so important. You're supposed to get a new suit and all this kind of stuff. Mama ain't bought you nothing all year. Now all of a sudden she got to go out and buy you a suit because it's this time of the year. This stuff is more serious than you guys say. This is traditions that we've been going through all of our lives. And come to find out, it is wrong. It is wrong. Now, I pretty much already read it that Judges chapter 10, God said, go cry unto the gods that you got. Now, why is he saying that? And after Abimelech, there arose to defend Israel, Tola, blah, 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 because we needed somebody to defend us again. He judged Israel 20 years and died. And the minute that he died, we cut up again. Then we cut up again. And it say here in verse 6, and the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord and served Balaam and Ashtaroth and the gods of Syria and the gods of Zidon and the gods of Moab and the gods of the children of Ammon and the gods of the Philistines, and forsook the Lord and served not him. We served every other place that we ended up being enslaved in and assimilated to, and started doing all the holidays and all of that, and completely forgot about God. We started intermarrying with their people and completely forgot about God. We started going to the church on their Sabbath days and forgot about our own Sabbath day. And now we have completely forgot God. And then we have this semblance of grace and the semblance of what we're supposed to do, but it's a lie. That's that Christianity and that Nicolaitan stuff right there. We got this semblance of what it's supposed to look like, but it's not really true. We're not worshiping God in spirit and truth. We're worshiping God in a lie. And we're not worshiping God. We're worshiping the God of this world. And we're also worshiping our bosses and our countries. What do the people say over here? For God and country. That's what they say. What's the name of that God? And what country are you referring to? Even our money, it says in God we trust on it, but this country says that it has the rule, separation of church and state. So they're not supposed to go together. But on our money, which is part of the state, it says in God we trust. Well, what God would that be? What God are you talking about? Probably Balaam, the one that we tend to deal with the most. Baal, Baal, aka Odin, aka Kris Kringle, aka Santa Claus. And then when you want to get fancy with it and try to be nice and sweet, Saint Nick, Saint Nicholas. Stop it. You're just telling lies. These holidays are not for you. We're supposed to worship. We're supposed to honor the holy days that God instituted, but we don't. We don't forgot even what the holy days are. Now they're listed, of course, in the scriptures, but and I ain't even gonna go over that tonight. But we don't do Passover. But you know what we do? Easter. We're supposed to be worshiping on Passover, but we follow Easter. We replaced Passover with Easter because the Catholics told us to do that. And now that's what we do. And most of us say that we're not even Catholic. Well, then why are we doing the stuff that they do? You pretty much can know what to do and what not to do. If your enemy is doing it, don't do it. If they say we're having a shindig over here and it's a celebration for God, celebration for country, blah, 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 don't go. You won't offend them by not going. But what'll happen is if you go, you'll get wrapped up in it. They'll say, "Oh, you here, blah, blah, blah." If you're not able to go in a place like that and stay with God and just inspect, because Israel did send out spies to see what was going on so they can come back and tell everybody, well, this is what be going on over there for real, for real. If you're not able to do that, don't go. But I'm going to get off of here because we've had enough talk about this tonight. Stay away from them holidays. No Christmas. It ain't going to kill you. You can still give a present if that's what you want. Just don't call it a Christmas present. You can give your kids presents. You can give your people, your loved ones presents. Ain't nobody telling you not to do that. God gives you a gift of life every day. And you didn't even ask for it. And half of you don't thank him for it. These are gifts. You can have that every single day. You don't need a tree or a special time of year to do anything for your loved one. You should be loving on them all the time and have a desire to give them something nice. But I hope that you learned something tonight, and I hope you pay attention and don't be like the Nicolaitans and Christians. I hope you don't be like that and following the ways of Balaam, intermingling and marrying with these folk, and they make you turn away from your God. And then next thing you know, you're doing these holidays and you have just gotten lost in it and can't find your way back. Well, I'm going to see y'all next time. Talk to you later.